Right. Okay, so I'm now recording. Let's go ahead and get to slideshow. Okay. Can you see my screen? What can you see on the screen? Just so I know.
The first page of the PowerPoint.
Okay, the first page of the PowerPoint. Okay, great. All right. Okay, great. All right, so you can see this page here where it just says online teaching. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And just to really quickly, because I know I had sent over to the group the PowerPoint plus the training manual. So I expect you in such a short amount of time to go through everything. So, but if you had, just let me know if you have any questions about that. But all right, so we are going to talk about, throughout the duration of this training, we'll talk about the who our teachers are, the conference platform that we're on, which is what you and I are currently using, called Jumu. And we will also discuss features, the teaching material, which includes two types of software. One is called Big Fun and the other is called Big English Active Teach. And we will also discuss or look at a lesson plan, something that you'll be working with throughout the duration of your online teaching. And what we'll introduce during the live training, the student progress tracker and the teaching and what that looks like. And I'll also have a separate, pre-recorded session that talks a little bit more about that. Okay. So let's go ahead. Yeah, and the progress tracker is called For All Rubrics, and the teacher schedule is called TeachWorks. So we'll get to that a little bit later, not today though. All right. All right. So. Most of our teachers, they are American teachers, and they come from various states. These are just some of the states listed. And we do have one teacher from Hawaii, and then most of our teachers are from the East Coast, so Ohio included. And so your experience, Josh, is what? So I noticed that you are a security officer. Do you have any other types of teaching experience that you can share with the group?
A little bit in college, working with college students, directing them through different kinds of lab work.
Cool.
I helped do some research for a psychology lab when I was an undergrad. So I would have to, as part of that, I would have to take students into a room, and I would have to go through a couple of exercises with them and have them fill things out and take that back to my supervisor. But I think that's basically it, I guess.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that's still, student teaching is a very important aspect of teaching. So, you get a lot out of student teaching, of course, with people mentoring and that sort of thing. So I commend you for, in addition to having to go to college. So, but yeah, so that's, pretty much the gist of our teachers online, as well as our teachers overseas. We have, various teachers who are substitute teachers. They teach ESL, they've taught Chinese students, they've taught other types of students, maybe the huge adults, that sort of thing. And so some of the teachers in our online teaching portal, they teach from young, maybe up to from 4 years old all the way up to like 16 or 17. And then we do have some adult students too that are interested in our program. So that's, always a possibility that you might teach an adult, but not usually. So And all of our teachers, so the cool part about our program is that, we have a tight-knit like community, and and the current teachers that we have now are all familiar with the software. So every couple of months, I try to do like a faculty training session where we get the teachers together and they talk a little bit about, what their challenges are, any best practices, that sort of stuff. So that's always a nice kind of like a feedback seminar type thing, and then anything new that's going on with the software. And then all of the teachers, they all share their own experiences, like on what they use while they're teaching online. So some of the things that you might see are like props while they teach, or other types of including like their own PowerPoints. I know there's a teacher who loves to draw, so he always includes some sort of drawings in his teaching style, and he also likes to create his own PowerPoint. So in addition to what we provide for the software, he will, supplement some of that material with his own material. So that's always nice to be able to include that, kind of put your own touch to it. So, and that kind of adds to like the personality of the teacher too. So all of our teachers, they have that sort of knack where they're fun, interactive, personable, patient, passionate, about teaching, and sometimes those things can be learned. Like especially like the personable part, some people are afraid, like, oh well, I'm not that interactive, or I can't jump around, I can't do all these things, but that I wouldn't be too afraid of that. I feel like that comes with time sometimes to really interact with the child, because with online teaching, you'll notice the difference when you go into the classroom. And I've been an in-classroom teacher for many years, and and then I've taught online, and the dynamic is so much different because in my experience, I will just say from my experience teaching students online, going into it, I thought it'd be a lot easier than teaching students in the class, and it actually is the opposite. You have to deal with technology. Hear me? Can they see me? Do they understand what I'm saying? Do they, am I expressing myself in the way that they will learn? Whereas sometimes in the classroom, you can wing it a little bit, So, hi, Brenda. How are you?
Good. Good. And yourself?
Good. This is Josh. He is one of our candidates for online teaching, and he is also going to China.
Okay.
Weeks, so
Hello.
Yeah.
Hello,
And Brenda's thinking about it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Brenda, I have started the PowerPoint just a little bit, but we really just started with like the first point, which is who our teachers are as far as our online teaching is concerned. And I know I sent you guys the information about, with this PowerPoint, and I think in the training manual that we'll link. So, so we're just kind of getting acclimated, and I was just basically talking about that. And if you do have any questions, Brenda, I'll try to keep this as, we'll try to keep your time as valuable as possible. So we can, you guys can move on with your day. So,
okay.
All right. So before we get into the navigating the platform, I did want to sort of toggle to the other document that I had you guys sort of sift through. And that's this, can you guys see my screen okay?
Yes.
Okay. And are you guys looking at where it says distance learning training materials?
Yes.
Okay, perfect.
Yes.
I just want to make sure because I have two screens going. I just want to make sure that everybody can see everything. Okay, so this is all self-explanatory here. I don't want to have to, go through this whole thing here, but I do want to emphasize because some of you Brenda, I had talked to you about like at least your availability and flexibility and things like that.
Yeah.
And Josh, I know that this might be your first time, learning about this, but this is information I had sent yesterday. So we're not I can go through everything. You can, if you want to take your time to look at it later on, you're welcome to do that. But you probably have all of the requirements already, which is your camera, your desktop or laptop, headsets, connection. There is the sound check, which I have some instructions on how to do that. And I think, can you guys hear me okay? Is everything?
Yeah, I can hear you. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, I can hear.
Perfect. Okay. So so some of the times there's some issues with the sound with the students and the teachers. I think that has to do a lot with, the overseas, connection. So, but we can check that out later.
Okay.
Now, usually the hours, we had talked about this before with you, Brenda, but it's a little different for you, Josh, because, Josh is actually hoping to arrive in China by December 10th. So,
oh, wow.
Yeah, he'll be in China and he'll be also teaching. So he'll be teaching and then maybe have a few classes thereafter doing the tutoring. So all the classes are during peak hours. That's what they call it, Beijing time. So that's 6 to 10 p.m. in the evenings. And so if, for instance, Josh, let's say you started early or you started teaching online a little bit earlier or something like that, those hours would translate into 5 a.m. to 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. So, but while you're in Beijing, really going to affect the hours too much, and it's what you're available to do. And you also have the opportunity to teach on the weekends, so Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, and those hours are a little more flexible depending on a student's availability. So, so you're absolutely open to teaching during whatever hours. And there's also sometimes non-peak hours available, so during the day. So I think I mentioned to both of you that sometimes you can teach adults and they might want to learn business hours. So their business hours, which would probably be a little bit earlier for us or later for us, depending on the time. So, we'll move along here. This is just introductory information. What we will do is we are going to do our training today for a couple hours. Tomorrow we'll do more training, and then the last bit of training, about hour or 2 hours, will be like a pre-recorded session. So you'll just go ahead and take that at your leisure when you're ready. But there will be trial classes. We call them teaching demos, basically, and those teaching demos are one with me and two with the China. So, so you'll go with me first, and it's just essentially you'll download the material that I provide to you, and you will create your own lesson plan, send it over to me, and then teach the lesson from the lesson plan. And I will show you some demonstrations. I will send you some material so you'll be able to see what other teachers have done. So that will happen. That will happen after we do the training. We can set that up later. So as far as when you are teaching, each class time, so let's say when you're thinking about preparation, each class time is about 25 minutes long. And we always schedule 30 minutes because there's like a 5-minute kind of buffer. Sometimes you can go over a minute or two or something like that. And if, let's say, you had back-to-back classes, that'll give you time to go to the bathroom or that sort of thing, get a drink of water. And that information will be all located in our calendaring system called TeachWorks. So, and that's something that we'll learn about later, probably tomorrow a little bit. And then I will conduct that pre-recording session. You can take a look at that. I had updated this. It used to say that you could be available 6 to 10 hours a week, but 6 hours a week is fine. So that equates to 12 time slots per week. So if you can at least make yourself available for that time, time slots aren't always guaranteed, like 6 hours are not always guaranteed, or 12 hours or whatever. But for certain, if you can make yourself available, that'd be great. And you have the opportunity to do that in TeachWorks. You can submit your hours through TeachWorks, and then we would be able to see those.
Okay.
As explained, this is an independent contractor position, so it starts off at $15 an hour and steadily move up to 18 to 20 to 22. So some of our veteran teachers already have reached that 22 point, so that's actually really good. And really, it just depends on how well that you're performing and in utilizing the materials. Most of our students are really happy with our teachers, so that's always a great news. And sometimes it depends too on how well or on anything that you can put on the table. I know that there is one teacher who started off really kind of meek, and he was, he kind of came into his own, but then he just started creating his own materials and then inputting it into the lesson plan, and he was, worked really well with the team in China with us. So, I thought that would be good for him to bump up, so sometimes it just depends. I think it's the I-9 and the direct deposit form to everyone, or you should have access to it. And Brenda, you had mentioned that you were working on it or something like that too, right? So,
yeah.
Okay, perfect. Okay. So you guys will all receive paid training for this. So sorry, this is paid training right now upon the first official assignment. So if you can submit that information to me as soon as you can, and then once we're done with the training, it'll all get processed. So pay is usually the 1st and the 15th of the month. So we're about at the 1st of the month now. So but because of the kind of the time frame that we're moving into as far as the training, or the trial lessons are concerned, you may not get paid on the 1st, just to kind of let you know. However, when you do get paid, it will be about $180. So that kind of equates, because we do that 6 hours of training plus some of the time that it takes for you to prep a lesson plan or so, and then also do the trial lessons. So it's all kind of detailed here. We already talked about salary increase. And yeah, so your typical salary increase happens after 90 days, usually after 90 days, okay? We are going to talk about the courseware later, but this is just a note about the 2 types of courseware. Big Fun and Big English, okay? And that is actually something that's downloaded onto your computer, and that's separate from our platform, which is Zumu. So as you can see here, I am projecting this material onto the screen. So that's kind of the idea, is that you'll project the material onto the screen, and it's very interactive with the student. They can write, they can listen and sing and all sorts of stuff. So, all right. So we'll talk more about that later. This is an important page here because this kind of includes, and some people miss this page sometimes, but this I'm going to highlight some of this stuff here. I have some special tools I'm going to use on Zumu to make it work. So teacher support. Okay, this is important information. So we have Henry, who's our IT manager in China. He's the guy, obviously, IT is very self-explanatory, but if there's any sound issues or if there's any Zumu problems, he's the guy who's with that. And this is very important to download WeChat, because that is the primary tool that they use in China. And this is something for you, especially Josh, when you might already have WeChat, maybe you've already been communicating, but you'll have a separate WeChat account for your Teach Abroad people, and then you'll have one, you'll have your not a separate account, the same account, same name and everything, but a group chat will be separate from Online Teaching and Teach Abroad. And then same with you, Brenda, we'll put you in online group account with Henry, and then me, and then Nikki. Okay. So my recommendation is to download WeChat as soon as you can. and you can at least add me because you know who I am. And then,
Yeah, okay.
and then you can also add the others. It's fine. They're not gonna object to that. So, but yeah, that's that page there. It's really important to keep on track there. Let's see. All right. So the actual online teaching process, we are already gone through 1 and 2, so that's great. You've already downloaded the Zoom, so wonderful. Let's see. During the training, so today we're going to go ahead and cover the hour 1. We're already covering this, and we're going to try to navigate through Big English and Zumu today.
Okay.
And and so then tomorrow we'll probably talk a little bit more about the actual ESL part of it, so total physical response and what that looks like, and then maybe we'll look at a few videos. So got a mock lesson. So we have a teacher who had kind of created his own lesson, and we'll go ahead and look through that, and then get through, like I said, I was telling Josh earlier, so for all rubric, teaching calendars, TeachWorks. All right, and then after training, so this is, I already discussed this, but this is just for your information again, what you'll do after training is complete. So this is your trial lessons that you'll schedule, and then tips on the trial lessons, like how you can engage the students, which is what we'll talk about later on. And this will be important for even teaching in the classroom, present the 4 basic linguistic skills of teaching, or of reading, writing, speaking, and listening. Okay. So, and this source on this actual lesson plan came from Guide to Teaching ESL. So you're welcome to check that out. I actually have those sources I have a lot of sources of teaching in our Google Drive. So you're able to kind of look at those. Pearson publication, which is the publication of our software. They have a lot of cool tools that you can look through and navigate. So you'll be well equipped before you start the first class. All right. 6. I'm about halfway through. That's a lot of information, but do you guys have any questions so far?
Well, not yet.
Not yet. Okay, cool. All right. All right. So then just a little bit more here. This is, again, going back to the trial lessons that you'll conduct with the Los Angeles team. That's basically just me. I'm not the only one on the team. It's just the one that you do trial lesson with me. So, and then there's a couple of the 2 people that you'll be conducting trial lessons in China will be these fellows here. So Henry and Nikki. Henry, again, is our team manager. Nikki is a foreign teacher consultant. So what that means is that she's the progress specialist. She's the gal that's in the rooms when you are meeting with students. She's basically a translator, but she also helps along with the teaching process. She's very good at it. So she's really cool to be able to have that good connection with. She's very energetic and helpful. So it's really nice to have her in the rooms, especially since it's 3 a.m. for me and I can't always be there during those early morning hours. So, but yeah. Okay. All right. So she'd be one person that will also be, I'm sorry, where was I? I think I was number 6. Okay. So I was here after you conduct lessons with the Los Angeles team. You'll have at least 2 trial lessons with the China team. And you may, and you know what, just so you know, you may have a little bit more. I mean, all of that's covered in the training monies anyway. So, but usually 1 or 2 is the max. So, and then what will happen is after the training or after the trial lessons, you'll get an evaluation and it will show you can improve and how well you did and that sort of thing. So you'll be able to see where you can, what you can learn from that experience. So. All right. And And then basically after training and after trial lessons, you already have access to this anyways, but you'll do a survey and you'll get the payment, direct deposit into your account. And then we'll talk a little bit more later about how you can submit your schedule on Teachworks. So after your first assignment, or upon your first assignment, what you'll do is you will provide your schedule at least 1 month in advance. It's really a Teachworks system that we have. You can input it, and you can just say, this is for all year long. Let's say your schedule's the same the whole time, or it's the same for months 5, January through March. So that's fine to do. You can always change your schedule. You can notify us and let us know. And as far as assignments are concerned, I was telling Josh a little bit that we have students who are as young as 4 years old, and the 4 and 5, 6-year-olds, those students will be taught Big Fun, which is kind of a precursor to Big English. Other students learn Big English. And since we're fairly new at online teaching, we have started this year holiday-themed lessons. So some students have learned Halloween, and that was really fun. And then some students have learned Thanksgiving lessons, and so Christmas and holidays, happy holiday lessons. So you may have that opportunity throughout the year, like during certain holidays. I mean, I'm going to try 4th of July, some like Independence Day ones, or some fun thing, like they're more like American national holidays. That way the Chinese students have some inclination about what goes on here and as well as what goes on over there in China. So, because they have a New Year's, but it's in February. So they're Chinese. So, all right. Let's see. So that is the type of assignments. And then as far as assessment is concerned, so basically how do you track their progress? We'll talk a little bit more about that. That's in 4 all rubrics. And we actually have a rubric for it that has been designed by Pearson, the global scale of English. And that is actually, they've created this really cool assessment program for their particular software. And it's based on the European CEFR, which is Common European Framework of Languages. So, and it's just the different levels that they have used numerical values rather than numbers, numerical values versus letters, which is the CEFR. And that stuff you don't need to know about. Just know that that's available to you. You don't need to know about CEFR or anything. As far as assignments are concerned, when you do get assigned, you will be notified at least 24 hours in advance. I try to do the best I can to notify you 24 hours in advance. So, and that stuff will get inputted into your TeachWorks account. Now, if you are notified before that, I will always let you know, and that's why I think WeChat is really important, because WeChat, like I can say, hey, Brenda, are you able to teach tomorrow? It's like, 7 a.m. and, it's already 7 p.m. tonight, something like that.
Okay.
Yeah, so if that's something, and try not to do that, because I'm not the ones who, I'm not the one who actually schedules the students' lessons. That's the China team. But we have the week lessons in advance, and so I'll post them to your TeachWorks calendar, let you know that you have the lesson coming, and then if there's any questions or anything like that. But that's just so you know. Sometimes there are those chances that you might get an emergency lesson. So, but they're very rare. Okay. But yeah, as far as and normally I don't like to do that with the newer teachers, because they have to get used to the system, So sometimes it's more of the more advanced or the more advanced veteran teachers who have been doing it a little while. They already have all of the materials ready. So, but we at least try we have asked you to teach a lesson or a couple lessons the next day or the next couple days, just to try to be prepared 12 hours in advance, and then submit your lesson plans to Henry, Nikki, and I. And then we have our email addresses are up here. So those are our email addresses. You can always submit them through WeChat too. I think there's an option to submit files on WeChat. You have WeChat on the web, but email is fine too. And anytime there's a lesson cancellation, you'll be notified too. We try to notify you less than 24 hours or no less than 24 hours, okay? And if you need to cancel, just notify us at least 12 to 24 hours in advance. If you do cancel your lesson and you don't attempt to reschedule or something, like let's say you get sick and you can't reschedule a lesson, then you do not get paid for that. But if a student cancels less than 12 hours in advance, it's considered a missed lesson. And when a missed lesson happens, you actually get paid for it. Okay, you get paid half the time and then the prep time. So, and that even goes for if a student is 15 minutes late to class. You can make, so let's say the student's not coming, it's 15 minutes or 20 minutes, student's still not there, mark the class as missed, okay, and receive payment, okay?
Okay.
But and then as far as like, I know that, many people try to be as punctual as possible, but if you're gonna be late to class, for any reason, try to notify us via WeChat, through the WeChat group, unless it's an extreme emergency or something like where you're not able to get to your phone or something like that. But yeah, so it's important because the students are waiting there with our foreign teacher consultant, and so sometimes she's not sure what's going on if she doesn't have any communication to tell the parent. That could be a bad situation in the long run. So let's hope that we cannot do that. So just as far as your daily, weekly tasks, I would check your TeachWorks schedule daily. The part about TeachWorks is that the information gets submitted directly to your SMS. You'll get lesson reminders through TeachWorks. And if you do actually teach a lesson, you would want to make sure that you confirm that the lesson has been attended, canceled, or missed, or something like that. And we could talk a little bit more about that later on. This is not something you have to learn right now.
Okay.
But again, notify the China team if there's any issues with cancellation. So the other thing that you'll want to do, which is what I'm doing right now, is recording all of the lessons. So I'm actually recording. I don't know if you see a little record button on the side. But I am recording this. So Brenda, just for your information, I'll send this over to you too, so you'll have it for your reference later.
Perfect.
You will certainly need to record all lessons and then send the recorded lessons. You can send us, but you can also attach your recorded information to our For All rubric system, so you're not having to email separately everything. And just some of the things that you'll be doing too, it depends on how well the students are doing, but you as a teacher have the ability to advance students to specific levels based on their performance. So we'll learn later that our Big English Fun, they are kind of, they're very interactive. I had mentioned this before, but there's a lot of materials. So you might not get through an entire level, like advancing levels, in 1 week, because the levels are like 9 units. And so each level is designed to go through like a whole school year, so you can actually take that much time with a student. You can advance them a level after 9 months or something. But if they're going through it like, pretty quickly, then you might want to consider, okay, I had them at level 2 in Big English, and we went through a few lessons, and I think that they need to be at level 3, So that's up to you, and that will be also up to your on how engaged your own lessons with the actual levels themselves, and how well you're able to implement those lessons. This right here, prepare progress reports, we'll talk about that. That's not going to be absolutely necessary when you first start. So but that's going to be later on down the road. As far as parent communication, you will know that sometimes the students are in the class with their parents. So sometimes they're getting help from their parents, and that's perfectly fine. If you do not have a monitor or a progress specialist in the room with you and the parent tries to talk with you, I recommend just telling them to please, notify the staff, CAEC staff of that. And you can, we don't really have problems with parents, though. They usually talk to our foreign teacher consultants. So that's not that necessary, but just in case. Okay. All right. So, and then just going back here, these are the time slots. So I just talked about how most Monday through Friday are the peak hours, 6 to 10 p.m. Okay, and then Saturday and Sunday peak hours are 9 a.m. to 10 p.m. So this is all Beijing time. So total possible slots are 92. Okay, that's just when you're doing the math. That is not what we actually get all the time, but that's certainly a possibility to have many. Okay. We've already gone over TeachWorks. We talked a little bit about for all rubrics. So all of the lessons will be through Zoomu. Okay. So meaning you'll have your big English, which will be downloaded onto your computer, and you'll then project it through Zoomu. Okay. And then you can take a look at these, but basically 8 slots per day, Monday through Friday, and then 6 slots Saturday, Sunday. It's all China time. And then then here are your times here. So actually for Josh, this would be your times. And then for Brenda, your PST. So you're in California, right, Brenda?
Yes.
Yeah. So lucky you might have to wake up at 2 a.m. every day. Awesome.
I know.
The time changed. So it was 3 to 7. Now it's 2 to 6. Although you could be in Hawaii. Yeah. So those are the times during the week. But if you're an early riser, you like to, you want to just get the day started, maybe you'll take, you'll take 8. And I will tell you, as far as our students are concerned, a lot of the times they're not usually at 6 p.m., not right at 6 p.m. But we have had some at 6 p.m. So they may even be a little bit later, like 8 p.m. So that's 4 a.m. So just know that that's usually a typical time frame for, 8 p.m., which is 4 a.m., 8:30, 9.
Okay.
All right. All right. So any questions about the training manual or material that you have?
I have one question. Do you get the same student, or does it constantly change depending on your time slot?
It's a good question. So we try to typically keep you with the same student so that you have this, but and that's really for their learning progress. So, but sometimes the student, maybe there's an unavailability issue, so switch teachers, that type of thing. And then there are other times too where you'll get several of different students. So so it all depends on it. In my experience doing this, it depends on the time here too. So for this, you will get a multitude of different types of students, and then during the year, you get a steady progression of students, the same type of students. So yeah. And then even in Josh's case, like he's going to work at a particular school. I think it's in Beijing, or is it Shanghai? I can't remember. Josh.
I'm actually not certain.
Okay. Okay.
I've been trying to find that out for a while.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, we'll figure it out for you. but I think as far as that's concerned, sometimes you can teach the students that you may see the students that you're teaching online in the class, in the class, which is kind of, you'll be able to kind of have that experience and exposure in both ends. So, okay, let's see here. I'm going to go ahead and go back to our slideshow here. We're at 11:54, so we have about an hour.
Okay.
Why is this not? All right, so, well, we already went through the technical requirements, but I do want to talk a little bit about Jumu, okay? So, Brenda, if you recall, this is very similar to our Zoom platform, okay? So Zoom and Jumu are essentially the same thing, except Jumu is the platform for the Chinese part. Okay, so unfortunately, they won't be able to use Zoom because they can't download it onto their system, but can use both. So it's interchangeable for both of us. But yeah, so let's see here. So I'm going to kind of give you guys some latitude here to be able to check out your toolbar that is on the bottom, I believe, of your screen. I don't know if you can see the toolbar on the bottom of your screen. And the toolbar will, it will actually, I don't have the toolbar on the bottom, I have it on the top. But what do you see on the bottom of your screen when you look at that toolbar? You guys, what do you guys see?
I see a regular PowerPoint, and I mean, like right at the bottom, I just see like stop video, invite.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay, so it says stop video. Does it say like manage participants or share or anything like that?
It says participant. Yeah.
There's participants, share screen, chat, record.
Yeah.
Oh, good. Okay. Is there a more button or little ellipses or dots or anything like that next to the record button?
The chat. There's an ellipses.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So click on the ellipses, and then you should be able to see more options there.
Only the group chat comes out.
Oh, okay. All right. The reason why I'm asking is because there's an opportunity for you to actually write on the screen. So I was just going to kind of show you the annotation.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, the annotation button. So, but we can, if you click that, yeah, I don't know. It says annotate. So if you click on that, you'll be able to see the toolbar, or it will pop up anyways on your screen. The unfortunate part is you can't see it on mine because it's specifically for my computer. But if you see it on yours,
yeah. I mean, how about on the right-hand side at the bottom?
Okay.
Maybe.
Okay. Yeah. So I don't know. Let me see. Let me try to stop the share. Stop share. Okay. All right. So let's see. Where would it be? I just stopped my share. So okay. I don't really see. Oh, goodness gracious. I think they changed it a little bit. Well, that's odd. You shouldn't be able to have. So you got chat. I see that. Closed caption, breakout rooms, pause, stop recording, but you don't have options. But Josh, you said you saw ellipses on yours?
It's the chat option.
Oh,
it's a speech bubble with some ellipses in it.
Oh, I see. I see what you're saying. Yeah. Okay. All right. Okay. All right. Well, that's fine. I don't understand why I can't see it on there, but usually when you share the screen, you would be able to, like, let's say, Josh or Brenda. So Josh, why don't you click the share screen button? and I'll just have you guys kind of fool around with this. So pick a desktop or whatever image that you would like for us to see, and see if you can share the screen. I just want to see if your toolbar changes.
So I just click on share screen.
Yes, please.
Okay, and then it comes out whiteboard, iPhone, camera, and the web page for your internet. Those are the options.
Great. So when you so does it say anything like desktop? Just share desktop or anything?
And it just says share screen at the bottom.
Okay. So why don't you go ahead and when you click the share screen button, desktop one, so keep it at desktop 1, and then click screen, and then now we can see your.
Okay, hold on. How do I go back? Oh, stop share.
Yeah.
Okay, so go to share screen, and then the desktop one is highlighted.
Yes. So just leave it there. Yeah, leave it there.
Okay. And that's it.
Yeah, and then there should be and I will recommend though, there is a little tiny, before you click the share screen, there's a little tiny box that says computer audio sound or share sound.
Okay, yes.
Click that one.
Share computer sound.
Yeah.
And then share screen?
And then share screen.
Okay.
So it tells us that you had started it, and then now we're able to see your screen.
Oh, okay, I see.
Yeah, and
then,
so, please.
Let me go to stop share. Oh, okay.
Yeah, and then you stop share. And so your toolbar, which is usually on the bottom when you're just a participant, will move to the top, and then you'll have different options. So,
okay.
Yeah, so one of the options is the annotation screen, and I was going to show you that so you can navigate to that through that. So apparently I can't do it with what we're currently using.
Okay, so
Excuse me, I'm just gonna plug in my computer here.
Okay.
Okay. All right, so go ahead, and Brenda, if you don't mind, go ahead and press the share screen again, and I'm going to see if you can get through your annotation and maybe look at some of the tools there.
Okay.
And then I'll ask Josh.
Okay. So then I have whiteboard, iPhone, iPad, camera, and web page. Yeah,
just share your desktop. Just click on something that you would want us to see, and then your desktop.
How about the whiteboard? Can you see that? I'm just
right. I can't. We all can, and that's you. Yeah. If you want to do that, you can. You can click on.
Okay. I just want to see how it looks.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
And probably am I able to see it too?
Yeah, you should see it.
Hold on, I have like so many web pages.
Because we actually can see it. You can see the whiteboard, right, Josh?
Yes.
Okay.
And then I go back to desktop, I take it.
Yeah. I mean, that's actually fine just to do that. And if you wanted, normally when you share your desktop, it's just so you can share your big English information and everything that's just there. But
okay.
If you want to draw right now, so since that's what we're doing, might as well just do that. So go to the top of your screen. Do you see your annotation tool, or do you see a toolbar?
Yes. Okay. Nice. Do I click on whiteboard?
Okay. I don't see anything on your screen, so I don't know. Okay, so you have
annotate.
Yeah. So I can annotate. See. And I can draw, and so I think you can draw, Brenda. Yeah, there you go. And then Josh can draw.
See.
Yeah. So whenever somebody, so that's the trick. So whenever somebody shares the screen, they can. whenever somebody shares the screen, you can just click your own annotation. So see, I can do whatever I want now.
Mm.
So, okay, so that's the drawing. And then, you as the person sharing the screen, you're able to clear all the drawing. You can clear my drawing, you can clear Josh's drawing, your own drawing. So
I have the whiteboard, but on the behind the, I guess, this web page.
okay.
So I can't really see the whiteboard.
Yeah, okay, I see. Well, why don't you do this? Why don't you go ahead and click stop the share or stop the share and then reshare and just share the desktop, and then we can probably, you'll be able to see everything.
Would it be fine to, hold on, let me see. I think I closed it. Okay.
That's okay, that's fine too.
Okay, so then go to whiteboard again.
I would go to, instead of whiteboard, I would just keep it on desktop number 1.
Okay.
So click the share and then go back to share screen.
Okay, let's see. Go back to share screen.
Cool. So now we see, oh, I see what you're talking about. Yeah.
Yeah.
We're able to still draw on your screen.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Yeah. And then you'll have a different button than we do, but we have, once we click annotate, then we can write, like I can even write something, and it's, so let's say there was a text box, which we'll use later.
Okay.
Yeah, you can actually have students write something if you want them to in the text. They can like sometimes I like to use the arrows to point at things. You can always, you can erase things like this. Like I can just erase my own stuff. Change colors, and then clear. So.
Okay.
Yeah. All right.
Do you ever use the iPhone, iPad?
I don't use that because mainly because with the teaching it's kind of hard to navigate iPhone, iPad and then use the teaching. So
Okay.
Teachers have used it before, but it's not very well received by the students. So it's kind of hard with, it's a little shaky, that sort of thing. So
okay.
But that's not to say, and again, I haven't personally used it because I don't own an iPad. So, but yeah.
Okay.
But do you have one? Is that what you have, Brenda? You have an iPad?
I have an iPad too. Yeah.
Okay.
Well, I just like it easier. Yeah.
I see. You're welcome to check it out. You probably have the stand and everything. You're welcome to check it out and see if that works as far as drawing and all that is concerned. And even through navigation of the program, I don't know how compatible the software is with an iPad. So I think it actually might look different than an actual desktop computer. So, but something that you can certainly explore. Yeah. So,
okay.
All right. And so, Josh, why don't we see if you can share the screen and see what if you can do something similar that we've done, just for drawing purposes and whatnot. And I can show you how to do that. So yeah, go ahead and stop the share above there. Here you go. Perfect. And then Josh, you'll go ahead and navigate to the bottom of your screen there, and just press share screen when you're ready.
Okay. Yep. And then desktop.
Yeah, desktop 1, and then on the bottom left it says computer sound. You'll just click computer sound.
Share computer sound.
Yeah,
okay.
That's the one.
And then share screen.
Share screen. Cool. All right. So yeah, and then you'll see a different toolbar, but Brenda and I will see this view options up here. And we can annotate. You can write. You can write. So. and you'll be able to see, you have a little more options, like the part where it says arrow. You're able to use a little, like a highlighter too. You can use that. You can clear our drawings. Like I can only clear my drawings. I can't clear anybody else's, but you can clear everybody's drawings, I believe. So, and then you have all the options when you go on draw. You can one of these things here to emphasize anything, or you can add text. So I can add text if I wanted to. So the reason why I'm showing you the Jumu tools and annotation tools early is because these tools will be pretty instrumental when you're, emphasizing certain points you want to make to your students. And the software that we have, they also include their own annotation bars, toolbars, but it's actually really slow. Like that's the only thing I don't like about what we have. Our software, which you'll see, it just doesn't work well. So trying to get used to the Jumu tools will be beneficial to you in the long run. So, okay. All right. Yeah, so that's pretty much what we use. Like sometimes I'll use the chat. Let's say I'm in the room with you or something, and then maybe you're having a technical difficulty or something, and so I'll just and I'll chat. So that's always nice to be able to use the chat button. Or you can also try to communicate with our foreign teacher consultant and just kind of, hey, I'm having issues with explaining this concept. Can you help? Or I don't know, something like that. So that, or even during your trial lesson, I'll use the chat because I try not to be I try to be a regular student. But if I want to kind of help you along or give you some feedback, or maybe you need to check your sound, I'll just chat it to you instead of stopping the whole lesson. Okay. So that's why chat's cool. Let me see. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen again. But and the other features are okay too. If you ever wanted to, like you'll see on the top of your screen now under view options, you'll see like remote control. If I ever wanted you to actually take control of the screen, I can give you access to do that, or you can actually, you can go ahead, and I might do that later when we look at Big English. I might actually have you take control of the screen so you can navigate Big English a little bit and move through those functions. So that's what the remote control is for. But when you are when you actually share the screen and you're the host of the lesson, you won't really need to have them control the screen. You'll be controlling it, so that will be fine. But, okay, so let's see here. Okay, so any questions about Jumu right now?
I mean, we could log in ourselves and just to mess around with it.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, you can. So that's a good question. Now, we have 2 rooms that are 3 or more participants. And you are welcome to use these rooms like right about now. Usually the rooms are occupied later on in the evening, or no, early in the morning. So in the evening, they're not really occupied because that's China time, morning time. So yeah, you're certainly welcome to use them if you want. And again, the Zoom software is the exact same, has the exact same features. So to even navigate through that to kind of get yourself into everything.
Okay.
Yeah. All right. So let's see. I think we are here. All right. So let's talk a little bit about the teaching material now that we've sort of talked about Jumu and how that's used. Let's go ahead and see if we can talk about teaching material here. All right. So I had mentioned this before, but the two type of software that we'll be using, courseware, actually, I guess the technical term, is Big Fun and Big English. So I just sort of abbreviate them just for for ease of this. So the materials are actually geared towards students ages 4 to 16. Fun. We have one particular level of Big Fun that's used for students who are ages 4, 4.5, 5, up to 6 years old. And so that's kind of like a precursor to Big English. And that's actually a lot more engaging and interactive for the young students, keeps them stimulated and interested in the material. But each of these, they have a teacher resource manual. It's PowerPoint style. So the Active Teach of Big English, Active Teach, and the Active Teach of Big Fun, that's the PowerPoint style that I'm talking about, which we'll see momentarily. Okay. The student learning tools or outcomes that you'll find and arrive at are from the catchy songs. So they're some of the songs you've never heard of before in your life, but they're still very fun. And they kind of get you in the mood. The activities, I say they're valuable because they have, so in each unit, there are several types of activities that cover all 4 linguistic skills. And the activities are from stories to, to flashcards to fun interactive games like tic-tac-toe. And there are videos that focus on a particular, like a theme of the actual unit. And then there's like a dramatic video, and then there's also we call a dramatic segment, and then there's also like more informative. And what I noticed and what I love about Big English and Big Fun is that they do kind of follow like a set of students or something throughout the whole duration of the level. And they have particular themes, like for instance, one chapter might be on just classroom objects, and then they'll couple classroom objects with colors, and then they'll marry the two together, and that will kind of be the theme throughout the whole unit. And again, they'll have like more, so there's a lot of review that you can use. And so what we have decided to do is, we decided to pair all of this information as much as possible into lesson plans. So the students are able to, or you as a teacher are able to identify specific target areas for the student, depending on their, their learning levels, and then, and modify as you go along. But because there's so much information, 25 minutes might seem like it's just, not enough time, but that's why we kind of just do it in increments. Teacher resource manual, that's helpful. It does have some ways that you can, integrate the lesson plan, but they kind of use a more broader lesson, 40 minutes to 50 minutes. So, again, we try to pare it down to 25 minutes. And then each level, each level has review chapters. And so review chapters would say, like, let's say you've gone through chapters 1 through 3, then you'll have a review chapter. So that's kind of nice, and then you'll move to 4 to 6 and another review chapter, 7 to 9. And there's a practice test, which can be used. It's utilized for, it could be utilized for assessment, but or you can just move on to the next, depending on what you feel that the students' needs are. So, yeah. Okay. So let's see. Any questions about that so far? I'm gonna go ahead. You guys can mull that over or take a break or something. I'm gonna go ahead and get to the software, and we can look at it momentarily. How's that sound? Want to take a little bit of a break, or okay, cool. All right. Go ahead and pause this share here. And then go ahead and get you. Really, I say break so I can take one because I've been talking a lot. Just kidding.
Okay.
Just kidding. All right. Recording here. Okay, so I'm resuming recording.
Okay.
Okay. All right, so this is what our first level of Big English looks like. This is the beginning here, so let's see. All right, so we're just going to kind of go through some of this and then and maybe some room for navigation of the material, and then we'll, some questions and answers and stuff like that. So, all right, so so again, this level here, we had actually when we first started the program. I will give you a little bit of background history. We first started the program. We used Big English Level 1 for basically the beginning of all students, like kindergarten, preschool, or pre-K, all the way through first grade. And then we found that it was difficult for a lot of the kindergarten students. They really couldn't move past, or some of them couldn't move past the third or fourth level. So we started to review some other material that Pearson had to offer, and we noticed that they did have the Big Fun, which is something that we can look at later on too. I have one of the levels of Big Fun, but you'll notice the difference between the two. So here we go here. So basically, when you navigate Big English, and just let me know if you can't see anything or understand anything. You just
Okay.
Yeah. So let me make sure I share my audio. So when we talked a little bit about presentation mode or PowerPoint mode, I'll show you what I mean. So this is the actual ebook, and you'll see the pages here. This is page 1, page 2. So usually this is typically okay to use, but the problem is sometimes the screens of the students, they can't really see if they have, and sometimes you'll see them, they'll be, I don't know, a school or something like that, and they have their cell phone in their hands and their mom's driving, and that's how they're doing their lesson is through their cell phone. So sometimes they can't see the screen when it's really tiny like this. So it's really tiny on their screen. So the good part about Big English and even Big Fun is that you can change it into what they call presentation mode or active teach mode. That is, you just click here. You'll see here where it says number 1, you'll see all the different lessons, lesson 1, 2, 3, 4, right? Basically these are activities, they're not really lessons. So you click here and you actually click on the phrase listen then read, and now it to big active mode, right? So the cool part again about Big English is that this is their song, and it's very fun, and we're going to listen to it in a minute. But the students none of the characters move; they're not really animated. So that's the part where teachers will become a little bit more animated to help students along. Okay, and we'll talk about TPR and teaching styles momentarily, but this is the tool I was telling you about earlier. We're going to just kind of put this off to the side. This tool's it's not the greatest tool. There's some cool things on it, but we'll look at that later. I'm going to go ahead and we're just going to listen to the song, and you'll notice that this is probably something you've never heard before in your life, but it's still very fun. So how you do that? So there are these tools. This is like a little microphone, so this is kind of like karaoke, okay? Not really ideal for at first because they probably don't know the song, okay? So how we hear the song is just through this little note, this music note here. And it's always going to tell you what it's doing. Okay? For Unit 1, listen and read. And we'll always have this audio bank pop up right in the middle. So the first thing I always do once that pops up, I just press pause and I just move it to the side right here. So that way the can see the words like that, okay? Now, one thing, there's a lot of different tools that you can use to help students see the song. But one thing that I have the students is I just click on this little bubble, and this bubble actually has them move along with the word. So that's kind of fun. One thing you'll always want to check, double check your sound, make sure your sound's all the way up. Make sure your sound's all the way up on your computer, so that way they could hear. And so I'm putting the sound all the way up, the volume all the way up. So let me know if you can't hear anything or if there's any issues with the sound, because sometimes the translation or the transmission is and you just press play and we'll hear the song.
I'm happy to see you. We're happy to see you too.
All right. All right. So it's really cute and engaging. And so one of the things that we'll talk a little bit about, but one of the things I think we love to see more of is the teachers kind of using a song or something interactive in the beginning to kind of icebreak, kind of like an icebreaker or something like that. So the song's actually kind of fun. And we have noticed sometimes that the sound can be a little off. So you'll see my mouth moving, but then maybe the song or the words are a little bit different from what you hear me or something like that. So that's why sometimes the songs are a little bit, but they're still very fun and interactive, and a lot of students love them. They just love to hear the music and to sing along if they can. The cool part about this one is that you can pretty much go to any part.
Good morning. My name is.
If you wanted to skip around or something like that, you can all
Listen and read.
So, or you don't even have to use that. You can kind of go along here and see the words here. But if you wanted to, have them, reiterate a word or a sentence or something like that. All right. Okay, so that is active teach mode on the song. So here, oops, that's not what I wanted to do. I'm so sorry. What did I do here? I think I just exit out of it. So give me a moment. I'm going to have to go right back in. Sorry about that. All right. Okay, we'll just go right back in here. So this is when you first click on it, this is what it looks like anyway. So. All right. Okay. So again, going back into the ebook, this is the ebook. That was the first page. Now you're always welcome to either click out, or when you click out of it, I wouldn't press escape. That takes you out of the whole thing, which I did. But down here, you'll see your navigation toolbar. Okay. So this is where you're able to go navigate from page to page using these little arrows here. What's useful, what I have found useful, has been this little kind of table contents type toolbar here. So you can go into your levels and you can go from page to page this way. So let's say in your lesson plan, you start at the song, but then you're already at page 8 or something, you can move right into the page and then on the section here and then move into your lesson. So it makes it fast and expeditious. If you needed to move up a level, this means just moving up a whole page level. So that's what that is. Typically your very first lesson with a student who's like in the second grade or first grade or something like that, this would be their very first lesson, is the classroom song, okay? And these 2 pages right here can be a 25-minute lesson. Okay? And that's with the song. That's with here's the vocabulary, and we'll talk about the vocabulary in a minute, and then it uses colors. And then it moves into a kind of a dialogue segment. So it does pretty much the same thing as far as when we're, so as far as introducing the theme. So like I said, sometimes there are 2 themes coupled together. So this theme is classroom objects and colors. I have spent, sometimes with students, depending on their level, I have spent almost 10 or just on this segment here. You can do various things. You can have them listen. And here's where you can use your annotation bar, where you can circle information, like this. Okay, yeah, and then you can circle and then still try to it's up to you how you want to teach. If you would rather have them just listen to the whole thing and then go over it again and circle, or let's say your sound's not working, you can also do it yourself. That's up to you. Okay. Okay. So that is one act. So this, again, some of these are just various activities. That's one activity. And then you go into colors. What I've seen here happen is in both aspects. I have teachers bring all of these materials with them, like they have backpacks, books, pens, chairs, and so they show them to the student say it, and then they hear the words. So they're kind of using all of those skills at once. Okay. And I've also seen it. I also have the students or the teachers show them the colors. And so the colors are just blue, red, green, yellow at this point, but so they introduce them to colors, right? And then they go back to, sometimes they'll go back to their vocab words and then ask them to point out specific colors of what they see on the screen. Or they introduce their own materials and ask them to introduce, or what do you know that's yellow? What do you know that's green? And then have them repeat that way. In my experience, introducing both the colors and the objects to a real younger student is a little bit more difficult, especially if they're English language learner, English or EFL. So maybe just focusing on one particular thing, like classroom objects, and then maybe the next day, going into the colors and then marrying the two, because you definitely have a lot of already to work with. So you can focus on the song, and then you can move into these review words, have them repeat a few. You can also go into videos. In each unit, like I said before, they have a video, they have a documentary, a dramatic segment. The dramatic segment will probably be focused a little bit more on, like, for instance, the classroom objects, and then the documentary will focus more on colors. Before we move on to the next part of our training, I'm just going to show you what the dramatic segment looks like. Okay, so again, these are the students that will be kind of like their characters throughout the entire process. So.
An eraser.
Sorry.
Oh no. What? My backpack is blue. Yes, your backpack is blue. My backpack is pink. Anna! Hi, Anna. Hi, Adam. What's that? It's my English book. Bye, Anna. Bye, Adam. This is Anna's backpack.
Oh no.
Good morning, students. Please sit down. Okay. Welcome to first grade.
Okay, so the video is kind of cool because you are, as a teacher, again, being able to reinforce the vocabulary throughout the video. Some of our lesson plan coordinator has actually gone through all of the videos, used the videos within each lesson plan, and has the teacher have them go through the video once and then go through it for like reinforcement or for evaluation, where the students are able to identify some of the vocabulary they learned from the previous lesson, like, backpack, book, etc. And the cool part too, again, is that this can be an ongoing lesson for a student depending on how much you've already, accomplished or progressed with a particular student. So those are just some of the few things that we are going to look at with Big English. I just wanted to touch base with that just now, and then we're going to move on PowerPoint. But tomorrow we'll look a little bit more into Big English. I'll show you some of the features of this little nav bar here, and then I'll have you guys go through your own, have you guys navigate it yourself. And then you'll get the opportunity to download Big English and Big Fun and see that for yourself on your own. And then we'll also look at some of these other features as well, such as the resource manual that will be available to you. You can play a few games. We'll look at the digital flashcards, that sort of stuff. Let's see. Any questions so far about this software that maybe came to mind as you were watching?
I mean, the video was very slow for me.
It was slow. Okay. So interesting. So was it slow because, so you think like the pixels or something like that were a little off?
Yeah, like it kept cutting off. And
it kept cutting off. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, that's really good to know because that could be happening too to the students. And typically so you'll be able, like for me, nothing was cutting off. So something will be going along fine for you. And then for the student, something's going on, but they don't really want to say anything because they are, well, this is the teacher. They're trying to show me something, so I'll just be quiet.
Okay.
So that's actually a really good learning situation for you. The teaching consultant will probably tell you, Brenda, something's wrong with the video. You may need to, So at that point, you'll just have to be prepared to maybe teach another part of the lesson or something else, and just in case. Oftentimes that has happened to me where technology didn't work to my advantage, and I had to improvise. Instead of using the video, I would stop the video and then I would move forward maybe into the picture cards, for instance. Like picture cards are here. And being able to see these are review picture cards.
Backpack.
Words. Do a game out of that. I had teachers, instead of doing the videos, I had them do like a scavenger hunt, or they made up their own game. They ended up using a whiteboard. They did drawing, stuff like that. So I have one particular teacher who has a problem with sound like all the time. So he doesn't really use the songs as much, and he uses his own voice over for the vocabulary, and he doesn't show the videos. So it all depends on the students and your processing time with the student and what they're learning. So again, this is kind of your classroom. If something doesn't work, then you can improvise. So, and that's what we're going to kind of talk about a little bit with the teaching style. So it's kind of a segue into that. So did that answer your question, Brenda?
Yeah.
A little bit? Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Any other questions, Josh? Are you doing okay?
I'm fine.
Okay, good. All right. So, so the teaching style itself, and this kind of teaching style is really aligns with teaching in the classroom and teaching online. One of the things that you'll notice, and this sort of is what you had mentioned, Brenda, just in the brief conversation that we had, that you had said that you experienced the video sort of off and on.
Yeah.
Chinese students, again, will not, they have, it's a very cultural nuance of theirs to save face, where they do not want to let the teacher know that something is going on wrong. Okay, and even times, even our consultants will try to be as diplomatic as possible. So with that said, a lot of what they are, a lot of their learning styles are based on that too. So we'll learn about the 4 linguistic styles in the moment. But one of the things that we try to emphasize as a company is total physical response, or TPR. Now, you don't have to be overabundant about it, but just trying to be interactive with the student and using specific type of command language to emphasize points or vocabulary, okay? So typically what TPR is, it's language body conversations. And it could be one of the most powerful tools. So something as simple as asking a student to stand up and then stretch out their hands or something like that. You know, when you're telling them to stand up and you do it yourself and you stretch out your hands yourself and they stretch out their hands, then that is already engaging in total physical response, because they might hear what you're saying and they might, you know, they might be able to listen, but when they're also doing what you're asking them to do, then that kind of gives them an idea of like, okay, they're telling me to do something. This is what they're saying. I'm going to try to imitate that, you know, and they'll be able to practice that. Okay. What the other thing that total physical response does is that it prepares students for speaking, reading, and writing. Good transition into that. What you'll notice, Josh, when you are on the field, so to speak, where you're in China, they do a lot of exercises before class, after class. So that's a big deal in China, is they do a lot of, like, you know, to kind of engage them. So that also helps, you know, with their mind. So that's also a fun activity to be able to include in your own activities while you're in China, in addition to what you can do here for online teaching. So what total physical response is, and I'm not sure if you guys, how familiar you are with TPR theory, but what it is, it's supposed to really integrate grammar, okay, and syntax within the learning process. So a student is not, you know, having to know what they're learning are a bunch of be verbs or something like that. Like they are actually, it's already within all of the materials itself. And so Pearson does a really great job in all of its units to integrate total physical response. And it's supposed to be stress-free with different games and the activities to allow for a student to, of all different types of learning styles. So that, you know, we have all different types of learning styles. And that's one of the things that it tries to focus on, is tries to cover all spectrum of learning styles that a student has. So right now I'd like to ask you guys a few questions, and whether or not you had any experience in your own, whether or not you've used this type of learning before, or what you may bring to teaching. And we'll start maybe with Brenda. She's first on my list. So.
Oh, okay. Yes, of course. I had to teach kindergarten in Korea for 1 year.
All right.
So I would start by saying the days of the week, like, you know, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. So I had to use, you know, my body at the same time with the students. So just get them engaged. Yeah. So I think it's a good way to do like an icebreaker or warm up. Yeah. So that's an example. Yeah. Oh,
awesome. Well, good. That's great. Yeah. So yeah, in Korea too, they're very, very much inclined to exercise. So, you know, that's really awesome. And so so when you were doing that type of teaching, how did they respond? How do students respond usually to you?
Well, with the kindergarten, you have to do it. It's like, they're not engaged whatsoever. They're very active, and like you have to change every 5-10 minutes, or not they lose engagement, because they're on all the time. You know, yeah.
That's good to know for you, Josh. You know, if you're going to teach some kindergartners.
Kindergarten,
yeah, they're pretty wily. Teaching the Chinese kindergartners, even I've taught actually a class of 20 of them, and so, Oh, I mean, they're so adorable, but man, after 5 minutes, they're already like standing up and turning around and, hitting their neighbor or something like that. So you have to be, mindful of like their time and their interest in what you're doing, So yeah, that's very true. So yeah, kind of changing it up a bit is really, really good idea.
Yes.
All right, Josh, how about you? What is your experience with this type of teaching style, you think?
Well, probably a little less than that because, like I said, I've mostly worked with older students. I did have it in my mind that I would have to use a lot of body language going into this because, again, I'm most likely going to be work with younger children, and I am aware that they can have a hard time sitting still and all that. I like that we can we can do songs and drawings and whatnot. I feel like when I talk to people like in front of a class, I kind of do a lot of movements in and of myself. So I mean, I guess it seems kind of like par for the course for what I was expecting to go into.
Good. Awesome. Well, good. I'm glad. And you certainly, I feel like you'll be able to bring so much, both of you, of course, because, Brenda, I almost called you Brianna because your last name. But you've already had that great experience in Korea for a year, so you certainly bring a lot of experience to the table. Comes from teaching online to the students. They'll really appreciate that in the interaction and engagement. So, certainly thank you for that. We will go ahead and move forward here. I'm trying to move to the next slide here. So let's see. All right. All right, so the 4 linguistic skills, very simply put, which we have already talked about, listening, speaking, reading, and writing. So you might have learned this too from your Korean students, Brenda. You'll learn this too, Josh, that the students in China, they're very apt to listening and reading and writing. Maybe their writing is a little shaky, but it's their speaking that they are very very shy. Unless you tell them, say something. Sometimes they're very shy. So it's our job really just to kind of get it out of them a litlittle bit. And that's kind of what the TPRs really helps them do, is to help them speak. And then suddenly they're out of their shell and they're speaking and they're talking and they're really good at repeating too. So, and then they'll repeat a lot. You'll notice too, they'll repeat a lot what the foreign teacher consultant will tell them to say. So they'll start to repeat too, but that kind of gets them to understand a little bit more what it is that they're actually learning. So, but all of the 4 linguistic skills will be covered in let's see, go back there. All the 4 linguistic skills will be covered in that aspect of learning, even within the 20 to 25 minutes that you'll be teaching them. So, you know what? We've already did this. So practice the TPR, the classroom song. So we've already practiced the classroom song. Actually, I want to go back to the classroom song. And maybe we'll go to a different song that I like. We'll go to a different that I like. I'm sorry, I'm kind of being selfish. There's a fun song in Unit 3. Let's see. It's the My Body song. So this one you don't need to have any tools. You have all your tools here. So all my tools for the classroom song are kind of scattered. We'll just go to here. Go to this one here, and we'll look. And then if you guys get into it, sing along. I'm just going to go ahead and I'm not going to use I'm going to use the song itself, but I'm not going to use the bubble.
Listen and read. Then sing My Body Song.
see, that's so much fun. Oh my goodness, I could sing that all day. It's so sad. Yeah, so that's like fun, entertaining, and it's lots of songs like that that have that sort of interaction, fun, zing to it that gets them going. They're like, and it's the cutest thing. Like you'll see some of the ones in the videos where they're up and they're dancing and they don't quite know the words there, but what they do is they start imitating the teacher. See them, they're like, they'll start to do this and then they'll start to do this. So it's really a cool way to just, get them motivated, but also learning. So anyway.
Okay.
Yeah. One teacher likes to, instead of doing sometimes he'll do this one and I'm not going to, sing it or anything, but instead of the actual unit songs, he likes to actually go into the Big English song. Big English has its own song. And so he's English song to them. And it's so funny because he gets up from his seat and he starts to like around the class in the frame anyways. And he starts to sing the Big English song. It's actually here. Here it is. So this is a Big English song. It's kind of long. So that could take forever, but sings it and they start to learn it. So it's kind of fun. Yeah. So let's see. All right. Ooh, 1:00. Okay. So let's see. I think what I was going to do is I was going to probably just take some time here. I know that Josh and I started a little bit after 1, so I was just going to take some time here and maybe we can, any questions or answers or anything like that. And if you have questions, maybe I have answers. And if not, we can kind of just reconvene tomorrow and talk a little bit more. We can move into the Big English sample lesson, and we can talk a little bit more about TPR. Or anything like that. But this is the actual sample lesson. This is what a lesson would look like, sample lesson plan.
Okay.
And so now that you've kind of seen what, you saw a song, all that. So you'll notice here, I'm just going to point some stuff out here. Point some things out for you. You can see pretty much. But you'll notice here, like the song here. Oops, let me draw. All right. You'll notice the song, you'll notice the, repeat point. This is the actual right here where it says listen, repeat after the teacher and point. So that's the vocabulary of each of the objects in the classroom. And then you'll have listen and read the conversation. That is the, so exercises 2 and 3 are actually the colors and classroom objects, and then the conversation is like making a dialogue or conversation. So you can see here, right, within these 3, the lesson plan coordinator times these as 2 minutes a piece, but sometimes this can take a little bit longer. So, depending on how well or how receptive your student is. So this is a very, I want to say, liberal lesson plan. But you'll see here that each of the lesson objectives, what are they trying to learn? The key vocabulary primarily and increase comprehension. So when they're moving from vocab sentence to sentence structure, and then of course practicing the pronunciation and intonation. That's really, really important for these students, is pronunciation, intonation. They may have trouble with the word eraser, They won't say eraser, or something like that, So just a matter of repetition. That's a lot with TPR. There's a lot of repetition involved, imitation. So that's one of the things that you'll gather from total physical response. So, and that's why, I love this lesson plan, but you can really just use this lesson plan for like 3 lessons over, where you can, like day 1, you can go through 1 through 4, and then day 2, 6 through 8, depending on the students, again, reception. But especially the repetition, the TPR, and, just the continuous nature of trying to make sure to have them grasp the vocabulary or some of the other objectives here too. So, You have free reign to look at the lesson plans that are already been invented in the in our Google Drive, so you're able to kind of navigate through that and see that. And if you have any questions prior to our next training, please, by all means, you can ask those.
Okay.
Now we're pretty much finished, unless you guys have anything that you want to discuss at this point. No?
Not that I can think of at the moment.
Okay.
But
All right, no problem. I will just say for technical things, you notice here that in this new screen, you see this little bubble right here?
yes.
See it? So I forgot to mention that in Zumu, when you're drawing and if you do not erase, if you do not clear the drawing, it's going to continue on to the next slides. And so we'll just stay on there. And so that's only because it's a projection screen and it's not, it doesn't align with what you're projecting. You just have to erase that stuff. So that's just something to remember. And, if it stays on there and you forget, you can always just go into your little annotation and it will tell you to clear all the drawing. That's just something to remember. Okay, well, thanks, guys. I really appreciate your time, and I hope to see you guys tomorrow, same time, and then we'll we'll just move into the rest of this, and we'll get you to navigate Big English a little bit more. We'll watch a demo. Demo. We won't probably have time for the whole thing, and then we'll move into how the progress tracker works a little bit, and your calendar. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. Well, look forward to it, and I hope you guys have a wonderful rest of your, what day is it today? Tuesday? Yeah, Tuesday.
Yes, Tuesday.
Awesome. All right, guys. Thanks a lot. Have a good day.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Bye.
Bye.
Have a good day.
You too.
Okay.